Hey guys, my name is Allison Jones, and this is my official presentation for media types. I'm specifically going to be going over live productions, kind of the impact that they've had in my own personal life a little bit, but also how I believe live productions really pave the way for not just well done live church productions, but other media types as well. To me, live productions offer content for all platforms, the possibility of long term impact, hands on experience for people in your churches, and the ability to show the world what God is doing at your church over different decades, spans of time, currently, whatever that might look like. And so, long term impact. So, I have this really cool slide of OG Hillsong from back in the 90s, early 2000s. I remember being a kid, and especially when reading Meta Church, a lot of memories would pop back into my mind as I would read Adamson's chapters and words and some of the things that he would talk about relating to this. But I remember being a kid, being in my room, and I had a DVD set of a lot of the live productions Hillsong Church did back in the early 2000s and 90s. And I would literally just be able to pop those into the DVD player, and I would just be in my room, even as a child, just worshiping, listening to that, and just looking at all the really cool things that they were able to do with the lights, with the words that they were able to put up on the screen, all that kinds of stuff. And so you might be wondering, why are you talking about Hillsong in the 90s? What does that have to do with church media today? Well, here's what I want to touch on with that specifically. Hillsong Church has been well known for a long time, and I believe it's because they prioritize doing live productions well. So you can see here, I have some photos, especially at the top middle, of one of their live recordings. You can see some pictures of their DVDs, CDs, chord charts, album covers, all that kind of stuff here. Because Hillsong Church prioritized live productions well back then, I believe that that was able to lead to now, to where nowadays you can see Hillsong Church still is very well versed in the media area, because they can do live productions well. As you can see at the top right there, that's a shot from one of their live productions with Hillsong and Free, their youth area kind of the church. They were able to live record a youth album. And then you can even see that back here when Hillsong United was a youth group, they were able to live record and do a live production for youth back then as well. Because they prioritized it back then, it stayed a priority. They kept it going, and we're still getting content. We're still seeing live productions on YouTube, which you can see here. We're hearing the audio recordings on Spotify, Apple Music, from the live productions that they're doing at their church, even still today. And then they also have things like Hillsong Channel, where you can go on and you can hear sermons from Pastor Brian Houston. You can still watch live recordings. I believe I've seen some from back in the day, and then of course some of their newer music and live recordings now. And they've even been able to take productions as far as not just within their church walls, because you can see here, like, it pretty much was in their church buildings back then, from what I remember. But they're even able to go outside of that now. So kind of there in the middle of the bottom section there of the collage, you can see they're kind of in an outdoorsy nature area. Hillsong United, not too long ago, I want to say a couple years back maybe, they were able to actually go outside their church walls and take live productions with them to places that are talked about in the Bible. And so they were able to go to Israel. They were able to go to places, and literally live record them there. And as they're worshiping, as they're recording the songs that they've written, they're able to go to places where Jesus walked, which I think is really cool. And so they were able to do that back in the 90s in their church walls, and then even do it now, not even necessarily just being in their church walls. They were able to take their production skills outside of that. And then they're also able to have a YouTube channel. They were able to do DVDs, CDs, Apple Music, Spotify, that kind of thing. So you can see how now you can literally go on YouTube and you can watch their live productions from the 90s. Because they were so well done, they were able to last a long time and then make that a priority for their church now. And then so I kind of touched on this a little bit already, but you can see too in other areas how live productions pave the way for content in all platforms. So I kind of again touched on that with Hillsong, but you can see it in some other churches as well. Life Church, which I think is probably more sermon heavy than I would say worship heavy when it comes to the content that they use from their live recordings, live productions. I can literally hop on Instagram and see quite a bit of clips from Pastor Craig, Sunday services where he's speaking to his church, and that kind of thing. And so you can see how here they would take a Sunday service of Pastor Craig preaching a sermon, and they take clips of that and they implement that into TikTok, which you can see here, or Instagram. And not even just necessarily his sermons, you can see how there's a photo here underneath the Instagram area of one of their worship sets, like literally someone in their church worshiping, someone greeting and talking to them in their church, having a connecting moment. You can see that. You can see that on Instagram because they were able to do their live productions well that Sunday. And like it's very clear, the quality is great. You can see they have really good lighting to where you can see Pastor Craig, you can see the people worshiping, you can see how all the production pieces are implemented to where once those were done well, they're able to use them here on these platforms, even to like a little church app where you can see this here. You can go on your phone and look up the Life Church website, and I believe they have an app as well, or they did. I'm not sure if they still do. But then you can see how you can see it on a phone, on a desktop. They've taken time to utilize their live productions in different specific areas. And then I believe, too, that that's paved the way for the podcast that Pastor Craig has been able to do. I think he's had like one or two that are actually his podcast. He's kind of guests on some other ones. But he can talk about things that he told his church about on Sunday in a podcast setting. And then even the people in their church can use their production skills they use on Sunday and utilize that in a podcast form. So again, it's not necessarily, podcast is kind of its own separate thing, but I believe once you get the skills of doing productions well on a Sunday and you're utilizing that in social media platforms, you can really use those skills to even go as far as using them in a podcast setting, which is another media type setting as well. And then one that I think is more worship heavy, I would say, that we'll see a lot nowadays is Red Rocks, Red Rocks Church. And you're seeing content from them, not even just from one campus, because they have multiple. You're seeing a lot of their different worship songs, again, that they're writing at their own church, their own written songs, and some covers of some as well. You're seeing that on YouTube. You can really go on YouTube and listen and watch Living God's live recording of when their church in 2020 during COVID times was worshiping and first really worshiping to this song. And you can see how God is moving in that on YouTube. You can see some photos here as well. And then you can also see on Instagram, this is one that really caught my attention specifically with them as I've been in this class learning about media types and how they can be utilized. You can see how their live production quality is implemented in this reel on Instagram to where they can literally show you some clips from the live recording from their live production and then show you on Instagram, hey, like this is available right now. Here's a live visual for you to see from one of our live productions of them filming the song. And then also, by the way, because of this graphic on here, you now know that it's available for you to go listen to right now. And that's really happened to me and probably some of you guys as well, where I would go on Instagram, I would see a reel pop up from Red Rocks, and I would be like, ooh, what is this song? Like, I haven't heard this before. This is new. And they immediately told me in the reel where it could go for me to listen to it. And so, again, because of their well done, attention grabbing, well thought out quality productions, they were able to use that in their Instagram feed for me to go and eventually listen to it on a whole other media platform, which being Apple Music, Spotify, whatever that looks like. So again, just really implementing that there as well, more in a worship setting. And then lastly, I believe that live productions really provide quality hands-on experience for the people in your church, whether this is people who have never done anything media-wise and want to learn, or people who really have a natural gifting in a lot of like lighting, AV production, videography, photography. Live productions open up doors for people of very different kind of media skills, not just lighting, not just sound or like AV stuff. It also is videography specific stuff, social media specific stuff, and you're trying to get film content for that, and then photography too. And so you can see here, you're seeing all the different parts work together. So you have somebody on cameras, you have someone actually recording or photographing content. You're seeing people, how they're seeing all the lighting work together. You're seeing all these different parts working together. And I believe that's a really special experience that people in your church can be a part of. They're seeing how this live production brings all these details together to also eventually open the door for people utilizing other platforms of media. So we're kind of seeing how all that works. And then, so again, wrapping up, you've been able to see through this presentation that live productions offer content for all platforms, the possibility of long term impact, where you can literally see stuff from the 90s today, hands on experience with the people in your church, and then overall, the ability to show the world what God is doing in your church through songs that were written by Hillsong in the 90s, songs that God's putting on your church worship teams heart right now, and then things that you're literally preaching that the Lord has given you last Sunday. You're able to see and show the world what God is speaking to you as the pastor, speaking to your church, speaking to your worship team, whatever that looks like. It really opens the door for a lot. So that's all I have for my presentation on live productions. Thank you for taking time to listen to it. I really believe that if our churches, not just the big ones like Elevation, Hillsong, or Life Church, or Red Rocks, I really believe that if churches can learn how to do productions well to the best of their ability, God can do a lot from that. So again, thank you for listening, and I hope this kind of opened your ability to learn more about live productions and all that they offer. Thank you.